Cashiers of Reddit, what is the most suspicious set of items a customer has purchased? Man bought $800 of Roblox gift cards, and when I questioned him on it, he said I asked my daughter what she wanted for Christmas, and she said she wanted Roblox stuff. So now, for not being specific, she can try and find a way to spend her Christmas budget of Robux. I really aspire to be more like this man. Not a cashier, but I've bought suspicious items together. I walked to the store to get a bathtub plug to try a bath bomb, but just as I left, my mom asked me to get a toaster. I did. The lady working the stand looked at me, "Are you okay?" I didn't realize what it looked like at the moment. Shout out to the cashier. I once bought nothing but a toy for my 2-year-old nephew, a bottle of motor oil, and condoms at the same time. All for separate reasons, but it was not lost on me what connections could be made. I worked at a hamburger place. We would portion ground beef in plastic bags. Management was awful, and we ran out of things constantly. I was usually the only employee with a car, so I'd go to the store down the street and buy like 5 to 10 boxes of 200 number flip-top plastic sandwich bags. I realized after while they thought I was a drug dealer. Razors, kitty litter, and lube. I feel sorry for your cat. I bought a case of 100 shotgun shells and a loofah at Walmart once with my buddy, and the cashier was like, "What are you two boys up to?" I once bought 4 cans of whipped cream, chocolate sauce, sprinkles, and condoms. Funniest bit is that I didn't even think of how it looked. The first 3 items were for my daughter's birthday party, and the condoms were just a "oh yeah, we are out" afterthought. The cashier, male, checked me out, then winked and said, "Now you have a nice night." And I sort of stared at him for a moment until my brain fired up and made the connection. Then I laughed and said, "Oh, don't worry, I will." My husband still makes fun of me. Wouldn't say suspicious, but the amount of people who came in to buy large quantities of poppy seeds and a 2LT of soda. I later understood what they did, but for the longest time I was confused as to why so many people were using their foot stamp card to buy so many bread sprinkles. This is only one item. It's the circumstances that make it suspicious. My brother was driving along behind someone who hit a deer. They stopped, and he also stopped. As is common in rural areas, he asked if they were going to eat it, and when they said no, offered to clear it up for them. He started butchering the deer, and after gutting and a few other things realized that he had nothing in his car to put the meat in. So he went to the nearest store to get something. He got the weirdest look from the cashier. It was only then that he realized that he had walked into a gas station late at night, bloody to the elbows, and bought black plastic garbage bags. Once, when I was younger, 17, 18-ish, I went to the store with some friends and bought several 1.2-liter sodas, a bottle of muriatic acid, and a roll of tinfoil. As we were leaving the store, a plainclothes security guy stopped us and said, "I've been to bomb school too, boys." At first I thought he had said I've been to bang school, and I was trying to figure out what kind of bang we could be making and where one would sign up to go to bang school. Anyway, he took down our names. Looking back on it, I probably didn't have to give him my name, but I was young and obviously stupid, and told us that if he heard about any bombs going off in the area, he would send the cops to our houses. We still blew up the bottles. I don't think they could even properly be called bombs, and we never got in any trouble. As part of a lost bet, a friend had to do a dare. We sent them to the supermarket with a specific set of actions in mind. Go to the cash register with a big box of condoms. Realize you don't have the money to buy them. Go put it back. Go to the same cash register again, holding cling film and rubber bands. So, how did it go? About as well as you'd expect. That friend isn't particularly known for shyness, and the cashier definitely paused, looked at him, and shook her head when he walked off, but that was about it. I was the customer. I bought an old lady style cardigan, a ladies singlet, and a G-string thong. I'm male. I realized how bad it looked at the register. I was also 26. A cucumber, some lube, a box of chocolates, and wine. It was V-Day. I hoped he had a good time. A single cucumber, a pack of condoms, and a men's health magazine. No lube, that isn't healthy. I'm sure a lesson was learned that fateful evening. Selling gram scales was always fun. Our EPIS system would direct us to ask if they would like a relevant item. So whenever anyone bought gram scales, we had to ask the customer if they would like any little plastic baggies, and then ask to take their personal information to sign them up for promotional stuff. I worked as a cashier for a certain hardware store chain that has an affinity for the colors blue and red. My most memorable customer was a younger Hispanic guy. He approached me with a pair of tin snips and asked, quietly, if I thought that they would break through the typical locks used by storage units. The round silver ones. I told him that he'd need bolt cutters or an angle grinder would be his best bet. I helped him find a cheaper angle grinder and a variety of discs. I never asked what he was using them for, but he said his key broke off in his unit's lock. I still wonder sometimes if he used it to commit crimes or not. Not suspicious as such, but someone returned books on irritable bowel syndrome and curry recipes to my library, and it was very hard not to say I've spotted the issue. About 10 years ago, I went to the store to buy condoms and called my wife to see if she needed anything. She told me to buy our toddler some new underwear. I went through the self-checkout that day. I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of cashier responses to this one. Having worked as a cashier for many years, I can say in all honesty that when you're doing it, you're totally on autopilot. Like, ask me the clue code for any vegetable you want. I absolutely won't know it, but put me on a register right now, and I could bang it out no problem. I don't think it's particularly suspicious what they bought, but how they got them. I was working at Sam's Club a few years ago. It's a warehouse store, a lot like Costco. I go in, and very early on in the day a man comes up with 9 flats of food. Over $2,000 to $3,000 worth of food. Ribs, steaks, lobster, potatoes, all of everything I could see. This dude was eating like a king. He then paid it off using only 8 food goods. Multiple cards. I don't know how he got them, but he used at least 6 of them. A single own brand pot noodle, £0 and 37 pence, which he tried to pay for with a £50 note and a no. Could you just change this massive wad of cash while your till's open? Yeah, right you are, pal. Close life followed by the £1 pregnancy test and a £30 bottle of vodka. Whichever way you look at it, that isn't ending well. As for all the lube slash condoms slash PP earrings slash diarrhea pills etc. We literally don't give a shit. We won't remember you unless you act weird about it. I only remember the guy who came in to buy a new skirt and tights once a week because he kept going on about how they were definitely for his sister who couldn't come to the shop herself. Mate, I literally don't care if you want to wear a skirt. It's 2019. People are doing a lot weirder. I was at a hardware store and I bought a hatchet because I need to trim some limbs on a tree which overhung my roof. On my way to the checkout I remembered that I needed some heavyweight twine and duct tape to tie up some boxes that I'd been meaning to put in the attic. It wasn't until I laid them all out on the counter that I realized how it looked. Gulp. Just a bunch of gift cards. Unfortunately, nothing too interesting. He came up and tried to buy about $500 worth of cards. I needed a manager to approve it, so I told him and picked up my phone to call. He said what? Why? Never mind. And ran out the doors. I worked for Walmart as a trainee for 2 months and I remember some guy trying to get a pillow set with little frills on the side, not packaged, and it didn't have a price tag, so someone told me to go find the item with a price tag so they can ring it up. I didn't find it, but I found a single pillow that was a different color from his, and it hit me that he just grabbed a bunch of them and tied them together. Condoms and fly spray. I probably wouldn't have even noticed if the young couple buying them hadn't been very insistent that they weren't going to be used together. Also the couple buying strawberries and squirty cream at 9:30 at night on Valentine's Day. Older estimate 50 to 60-year-old man strolled into my line when I worked at a grocery store. 1 bottle of Majorska, cheap $6 plastic bottle vodka, 1 box of Magnum condoms, 3 huge zucchinis. I work a couple overnights at a gas station. 1 guy, 2 girls. He came up to register with condoms and a jar of Vaseline. Maybe not that suspicious,